Toyota is on the verge of unveiling their very first global market EVs, and to celebrate, they've decided to ask the US government to slow down on that electric car craze. The InsideEVs contributor Tom Moloughney will be here to try to make sense of that logic. Tesla will now accept Bitcoin as payment for their cars, but you better not ask for it back. First confirmation of upcoming deliveries of the Tesla semi-truck and what they're going to be carrying in the back. Elon Musk unveils a new Cybertruck feature and Sandy Munro has something to say about it. Lucid sells out of its Air Dream Edition. We watch another EV do a tank turn on ice, and Jeep will have its own EV charging network, which will come in handy once, you know, they'll start building the actual EVs. All of this is coming up next. Welcome to E4 Electric, your #1 source of electric car scoop. Don't be afraid of that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that and the bell notification icon right next to it so you don't miss anything moving forward. Let's get to our top story. And Toyota and its luxury brand Lexus are just about to unveil their first electric cars for the global market, and everyone's excited except for Toyota. Instead of shopping for the balloons and the confetti for the unveilings, they were busy lobbying the US government to slow down the electric car adoption. Now, the reason they got a little worried, well, a lot worried actually, is because the Biden administration is considering setting a deadline on banning the sales of gas cars altogether. And as scary as it is for Toyota, it's really nothing new. Many states and countries have already done that, and on top of that, this week, Volkswagen and their sister brand Audi has announced that they're no longer going to be developing the gas engines ever. Toyota has testified before a Senate committee with a message very similar to the one from this one girl I used to know in college. Hey baby, let's slow things down. We're not ready for this. Let's keep things the way they are, you know, just being friends. Alright, so this is not exactly what Toyota said, but I think I'm pretty close. But just in case, here's the actual quote. If we are to make dramatic progress in electrification, it will require overcoming tremendous challenges, including refueling infrastructure, battery availability, sorry, allergies. I'm severely allergic to BS and penicillin. Now, I will give you the infrastructure. We're definitely not ready right now. For example, here in California, every time we all turn the air conditioning on at the same time in July, our power goes out. So we have some work to do there, but the battery availability, that's on you, Toyota, and all of the automakers, and so is the consumer acceptance. It's hard to accept something you're actively, you know, not making. Alright, so before I upset my Zen again, as it always happens when I talk about Toyota, I'm gonna bring in the InsideEVs contributor and my spiritual healer, Tom Moloughney. But before that, a quick reminder that this video and this channel is sponsored by XPeng Motors. Check out the P7, a beautiful electric sedan I just got to enjoy myself the other week. It is equipped with the X-Pilot 3.0 self-driving tech with navigation-guided autonomous driving feature and even some cool games. I linked to my full review of it and the XPeng Motors page on Facebook in the description of this video. Alright, Tom, so I know we've talked about this before, but let's just see if we're on the same page on something. When Toyota finally unveils a real electric car, which seems to be in a few weeks or maybe even a few months, is there any doubt that it will be a good, if not great, electric car?
Yeah, there's doubt. I know they're capable of making a great electric car, but are they going to? That's a question. They might intentionally, you know, not make a great one. It goes along with their MO in the past with their electric vehicles.
But correct me if I'm wrong, they have pretty good experience with electric powertrains. I mean, they had a Prius a decade ago. They kind of were ahead of everybody. They have the money. They have the engineers. What's their problem? I think they can make a good electric car.
Oh, Alex, there's no question. I'm certain they could. I don't know if they want to. You know, they've been slow walking electrification, fully electric vehicles for so long now. They want to drag out the hybrids as long as they can because they're so good at making them.
All right. Now, you know, obviously they are talking to our Congress in a very self-serving purpose because, as you mentioned before, they want to continue making hybrids. Is that correct?
Yeah, Alex, Toyota owns the worldwide market in hybrids. Nobody makes hybrids better than Toyota. It's just a fact. That's not going to be the case when they make electric cars. They're not going to be far and away the best at making electric cars, as they are with hybrids. So they're trying to hold on to that as long as they can.
Fair enough. And now let me bring something up. And I think, not everybody realized that I was playing devil's advocate last time I brought it up, including you. You actually suggested I should change the name of the channel. What would you say? All for oil, right? And yeah. Apparently that caught on in the comment section. But listen, bottom line is this. If we magically decide to change to electric cars tomorrow, it's not going to work, right? Our infrastructure is not ready. I mean, here in California, we're not even ready for air conditioning during summer. And battery supply is rough right now, right? And chip supply. So do you think they may have accidentally have a good point that we cannot rush the electrification of transportation just because of infrastructure and the battery supply issues?
So let me shut you right down again, Alex. No, I don't think that's the case. Nobody is suggesting that we transition to electric cars tomorrow completely. What these senators were proposing is that President Biden set some kind of a date. They didn't say 2025, 2030, or even 2035. They just said set a date somewhere in the future so we have some kind of a timeline. And by doing that, that will help companies like the auto manufacturers, the utilities, the EV charging infrastructure companies. It'll help all of them set this kind of timeline to say, okay, in 5 years, we should be at this point. In 10 years, we should be at this point. In 15 years, we should be at this point. We need some kind of a guidance, some kind of directive. It's good to set goals, somewhere out there, 15, 20 years down the road, no more EVs. But if we don't set some kind of a limit, some sort of a timeline, then that maybe the utilities and infrastructure companies are going to drag their feet with installing EV charging infrastructure. Maybe the manufacturers like Toyota are going to say, okay, we could sell hybrids for another decade if these cars aren't getting phased out. So yeah, I am all for setting some kind of a timeline like so many other countries have already done, and even auto manufacturers have done that. But Toyota just continues to just try to slow walk electrification, to try to hold it back so they can sell their precious hybrids as long as they can.
It is very difficult to play devil's advocate in this case when I'm trying to try to in any way present Toyota's arguments, because it really is devil's advocate at this point as far as the electric community is concerned.
Yeah, you're even stuttering there trying to fight me on this. You can't beat me on this topic, Alex. It's not going to happen.
All right. Well, that's why I have you on every week, and I really appreciate it, Tom.
I love being here.
If me and Tom ever decide to start agreeing on everything, I think there will be no reason to have him on this channel, but that's okay. He's got his own. As a matter of fact, he just passed 10,000 subscribers, so check it out. Linked to his channel in the description of this video. Let's move on to our second story, and we're gonna talk about Tesla because they've started accepting Bitcoin this week. Elon Musk tweeted about that. This is a huge win for Bitcoin in particular and cryptocurrency in general. Earlier this year, Tesla has invested $1.5 billion in Bitcoin, and now when you pay Tesla in Bitcoin, they will keep it in that currency. But the price will not be set in Bitcoin, it will be set in US dollars or whatever non-cryptocurrency currency of your location. So essentially the Bitcoin price tag will be like your local seafood restaurant's lobster entree. It's market price. It can change anytime, even before the dessert. And I know what you're saying, Alex. Tesla changes their prices all the time, even when they are not in Bitcoin. True, that's true. Tesla Model 3 just changed their price for the third time in just a few weeks, but trust me, this one is going to be way more interesting. But there is one more thing, and I hate to bring it up because paying by Bitcoin is really cool unless you want to get a refund or go through with a buyback. See, in that case, it's Tesla who chooses which currency to use to give you your money back, and of course, they're gonna give you whatever's cheaper, and they're very clear and honest about it in their terms of use, which I'm assuming you've all read top to bottom. So while Tesla is holding $100 deposit of your money in Bitcoin interest-free, if the Bitcoin actually gained value during that time, and that deposit is now worth $110, well, I don't like the way you're looking at those $10, my friends, because those are not yours anymore. Let's move on to some other Tesla news, and Elon has tweeted out a new Cybertruck feature, so everybody's got very excited, but I gotta say, I'm starting to wonder if Elon's got some sort of spyware on my computer or Sandy Monroe's, because this is what Sandy said just a few days ago when we were taping the video that hasn't even been edited or aired.
Why do I even need a door handle? What earthly reason do I have to have a door handle?
Now you want to guess what the newly unveiled Cybertruck feature is? Elon! As far as the Sandy Monroe conversation goes, I will air it in a few weeks, so don't forget to subscribe. Speaking of Tesla trucks, let's talk about the other one that's also been getting a lot of attention. And remember many moons ago when the Tesla semi-truck was unveiled, and one of the first reservation holders was PepsiCo with 100 semi-trucks reserved. Well, guess what? PepsiCo just announced that they will be getting 15 out of those 100 before the end of the year, and they became the first company that has confirmed deliveries this year. Another reason why Pepsi is better than Coke. Let's talk about Lucid, because they just announced that they are sold out of their first Air Dream Edition. They are all spoken for, so if you want one, you'll have to be placed on a waiting list. Lucid did say that they're only making 500 of those, but that's still pretty impressive since the price starts at 169,000 non-Bitcoin American dollars. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you like ice skating? Yeah, me neither. But you may reconsider once you see a supercar do a triple axle. I mean, a tank turn. Yeah, I meant a tank turn. Yeah. Well, check out this video by Draco Motors that take Fisker Karmas and revamp them into supercars with 1,200 horsepower and a $1.25 million price tag. Ain't she a beauty? They will deliver 25 of them this year, but all of them will be able to do a tank turn, the move I've only seen performed by a Rivian R1T prototype 6.0 from a Russian judge. Last week I told you how Rivian is following Tesla's footsteps and copying what has been one of Tesla's biggest advantages, the fast charging network, because Rivian drivers need those in places where there are none. National parks, overlanding spots, and so on. Well, this week there is another brand copying Rivian, copying Tesla, and you're not going to believe what it is. It's Jeep. Now, unlike Rivian, they're not doing it on their own. They're partnering with Electrify America to create the Jeep 4XE charging network by installing Jeep-branded EV charging stations at or near the off-road trails over the next year. But much like Rivian copying Tesla, Jeep is copying Rivian in terms of having these charging stations completely exclusive to Jeep drivers. Now, these are level 2 charging stations, and 3 of them are due to open this spring at the most popular off-road sites in Utah and California. So you're probably wondering, but Alex, if this is exclusive to Jeep drivers, who the hell is going to use it, because Jeep doesn't make electric cars? Well, they do make a plug-in hybrid called a Wrangler 4XE with 22 miles of range, but before you throw stuff at the screen, they have just unveiled a new EV concept called Wrangler Magneto. It is not going to be built on an electric platform, but it's going to be a retrofit from the existing gas-powered Rubicon, and unfortunately, there are no certain plans to go in production just yet. And I think I know why, because they're still not very clear about some EV terminology. For example, in their own press release, they are referring to the 70 kilowatt-hour battery as power, which it is not. It is an energy storage capacity. I'm sure they'll get to Googling it at some point. But bottom line is, Jeep will have their own charging infrastructure for electric vehicles, so now all they need is for someone to build one. Don't forget to join my premium membership so you can get access to some bonus videos, exclusive materials, interview, behind the scene footage, live streams. For just under $5 a month, you will be able to provide water, shelter, and electricity to charge this YouTuber's electric car. So it's a good cause. All right, looking forward to all of your comments. Other than that, see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.